Welcome to this data pipelining project where we'll be working on a real-time log analytics problem. So to explain this architecture, let's think of this square area as an application server. The server will be Amazon EC2, and from this server the logs that will be generated real time, that will be pushed to the Kinesis data firehose. So how do we do that? For a Linux machine, we install a Kinesis agent on that Linux machine, and the logs that will be generated, we will fetch the logs, or the Kinesis agent will grab the logs from here, and for that we have to actually configure some files in Kinesis agent that will actually do the job to make Kinesis agent ready to get the log files and streaming it to the firehose, right? So that part is important, to configure the Kinesis agent and with proper proper permissions and all that. So after the data arrives at firehose pushes the data to S3 bucket that we will mention, and between IAM roles are important. So after our data arrives here, we need to actually define the schema in AWS Glue, define the table structure and everything, and this part is very important in AWS Glue, because in the future we will query the data with Athena, and with Amazon Athena will directly refer to the AWS Glue schema, and through that it will fetch the data from S3 using the Glue schema. So there should be an error here too, but however, I hope you got the point. And finally, we will use Amazon Quicksight to visualize the logs real time. So this is more or less the architecture. I hope you'll understand it better when we'll be doing the project. So now we will create an S3 bucket for storing data, and then we will create an IAM policy for our EC2 instance to connect to the Kinesis Firehose. So let's create the S3 bucket first real quick. Just log data Canada, and all good. We want to block all the public access. Currently versioning is disabled, encryption is all okay, and let's create the bucket. And of course, why this happens every time, log data. Okay, this name is taken as well, log data 2023. How about this? Okay, let's create the bucket first. Alright, our bucket is here, and let's create the IAM policies for our EC2 to connect to the Kinesis Firehose and CloudWatch, right? So alright, let's create a role. We are creating a role for our EC2 common use cases. Okay, use cases for AWS. Click on next, and now choose the policies from where we need Kinesis. Alright, Kinesis full access, that's what we need. We need S3. Sorry about that. S3. S3 full access, that's what we need. We need CloudWatch full access, CloudWatch logs full access, and CloudWatch events full access. We need those stuffs, right? Okay. Now let's click on next, and let's give this what we can call it, EC2 for Kinesis. Distance. Let's give it a good description, like role for connecting to the Kinesis Firehose and CloudWatch, right? Okay, all good, and let's create the role. Going to take a few seconds. All right, the role is created. Yeah, it's here. Now at this point we want to create our database in the Glue, and we want to configure Glue folder for the ETL task. So let's start making the database. Let's call it log analytics ETL, and we can get those blank. Now in this database we need to create the tables. Let's create the table. Let's add the table here. Log, let's call it log table. Choose the database and this is the source S3 where our Kinesis part will be saving the Parkway file here, and let's tap the S3 bucket. Sorry, what? Let me check. Okay. And we need to define the schema. just bear with me at this point. We want to add some columns here, and let's take one by one. If you see the log file after, you will get an idea, but right now I'm just creating the schema. Alright, add column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5, column 6, okay, 7, all right. Now at this point we want to make a partition key, okay, and partition key will help us like reducing the computation power, reducing the computation processes. So just let's add a partition column, and it's called date hour, because we can then partition the make the partitions by hour and by date, right? And set as partition here and save the file, save the column, right? Okay, at this point we want to edit the table, and we want to add some more properties here, because these properties will be used in the later processes, right? So let's edit the table, and just bear with me at this point. We'll just add more properties. Projection enabled, this will be true, and projection data format will be projection data or interval unit to be hours. Projection data or type and this will be date. External will be true. Projection data are range. This will be from 2018 to now. And yeah, projection data or interval 1, and storage location template. This will be the storage location and the converted folder. By the way, I created a new folder called converted, where the Parquet files, well, how do you spell it? Parquet. The Parquet files will be stored, and variable. So let's continue with this. Yeah, okay. So now we will create a delivery stream for Kinesis, and what this stream will do is it will collect the data from the log server and push the data to our S3 bucket. So let's create the delivery stream here. Our source will be direct put because we are using Kinesis agent. Kinesis agent is a plugin that is installed in the log server, right? And our destination would be Amazon S3. Let's see what other destinations do we have, just for checking. Okay, let's do Amazon S3. Okay, all right. Delivery stream name, we can do okay, log underscore stream. Just call it log stream. Transform source record with AWS Lambda. Kinesis data files can invoke Lambda function, transform, filter, and compress, convert. Do we want to do it? Maybe not. What do we want to? Yeah, but we want to convert the record format into Parquet. Yeah, and schema for source records. Choose glue. Now Kinesis data for references table definitions stored in AWS Glue, right? So this is important because Kinesis data Firehose, in the previous section we have defined the schema. So right now Kinesis will use that schema that we have stored in the glue and will specify the schema, right, and we'll use that schema for defining the keys, right? So we'll choose glue database that we already had, okay, and AWS glue table. We will choose the log table. All right, and the destination settings. Now this is where our data will reside, right? So this is our choose a bucket to enter a bucket. Okay, this is our bucket, and S3 prefix. Okay, we want to send the data to the converted folder, which is here, right? Converted folder. And for error, we created another folder called error. If any error happens, this will reside here. And the compression and encryption, this is good, this is good. Encryption we don't need right now. Okay, and backup enabled. So do you want to, for now, let's not choose backup now. Okay. Advanced, what other settings do we have? Server side description we don't want. CloudWatch error login no enable, and service access it is getting the proper role here. And let's okay, add a new tag. We call delivery stream, come on, name, and we will choose the delivery stream name, which means log stream. Okay, let's create the delivery stream. It may take some time. We'll wait until that. Yeah, the delivery stream is enabled and ready to go. Right, okay. At this point, we want to set up our Kinesis agent into our EC2 instance. So let's go to EC2 and set up our Kinesis instance in one of our servers. I'm just showing the basic steps on how to create a EC2 machine, but I have a machine already, so I'll just install my agent in that machine. But however, I will show you how to make a machine, like create launch instance and give it a name. For example, Kinesis stream, and you can choose Amazon Linux, free tier eligible, 64-bit architecture, T2 micro, key pair. You can choose a key pair name of your own, or you can create a new key pair. You can get a new key, for example, and we will use the putting software, which will connect to our EC2 instance. So in this case, we'll choose a PPK, create new key pair. For example, our new key pair is saved. We will use this kind of PPK file to access to our EC2 machines, network. You can choose create new security group, or you can choose create existing group. And now SSH, you want to choose my IP, so that the connection is secured, 8 GB configuration, and everything. After everything, you can just create a launch instance, and it will make instance ready for the work. However, I have already have one instance, and I'll just go over there. So after your instance is created, it will show here like this, and for starting the instance, choose start instance from instance state. Okay, taking some time. And to connect to this instance, you will use that ppk file that that was downloaded when you were initializing the instance launch. And since we have already one ppk file ready for accessing this machine, we'll just use that one. And use the public IP address and paste it over here, and let's connect to the instance. You'll choose accept. The login as you will EC2-user, and you are here in your instance. Just for seeing things better, I will increase the font size here. Okay, let's do 14. Okay, let's do sudo and let's install our Kinesis agent, right? So let's go to the root, and all right, so let's install the Kinesis agent. For installing Kinesis agent, you type a command which is called sudo yum install -y AWS Kinesis agent. Let's install here. All right, pretty quick. Now at this point we will we have installed our Kinesis agent in this EC2 machine, and now what we have to do is we have to configure the configure our agent, right? So for that we will go to etc, and there would be a folder called AWS Kinesis. Let's go to that folder. And if we see, there is a file called agent.json. Let's open that file. All right, vi agent.json. Right, so here what we are seeing in this space is that a JSON file for configuring the CloudWatch metrics, Kinesis endpoint, Firehose endpoints, and the file pattern that the agent will be collecting, that the agent will be reading, and the Kinesis stream, where is it will be our Kinesis stream endpoint, and there are other options, right? So what we'll do, we will edit this file so that the agent can understand our log file. So for that we will replace this template with our own file, where you can see here CloudWatch metrics. This endpoint will be changed with our Firehose endpoint, delivery stream name, and the data processing options will convert the data to JSON, log format with common patch log. I mean, these things are written in the documentation if you follow. What I want to address at this point is the custom field names. If you remember, in our glue schema that we defined, where the schema, the column names were this, right? If you can remember, client IP, RFC, auth user, timestamp. Let me go to our glue and check if we are at the same page, right? Okay. Set option, data catalog, database, analytics, log table, schemas. Table. Right. See the column names. Let's do one thing. Let's match all of them with this, right? Okay. We have client IP, we have RFC 931, we have auth user, we have timestamp, make sure the spelling is correct, verb, we have URI. Oh, okay, let's see. All right, can we edit this schema? Yeah. Let's the little typo, sorry for that. URI pop. Okay, what else? HTTP verb, but HTTPS verb. Let's change this. Make sure we have everything correctly written. And HTTP status bytes. Now referrer, referrer and agent. There was one other column that will be the partition column, right? Agent. Okay, we're good. Okay, so this is the file that we want to put in. We want to replace this template with the this thing. So we want to have our Firehose endpoint, right? So where can we have our Firehose endpoint? Let's go to Kinesis. Is this the file? Let's see the pattern. Firehose. Search Firehose. Kinesis Firehose endpoint. Okay, we have a list of Firehose endpoints now. Our region is Canada Central, so let's look for our. This page gives you the endpoints. Okay. This one is our, and this one is our region and this is our endpoint. Let's replace this real quick. This, all right, looks good. And what else? File pattern is all right. Our delivery stream name, make sure our delivery stream name matches the one here. Sorry about that. Oh my goodness. Okay, and what else? What else? What else? Log to JSON, match pattern, everything is good. And let us replace this the template with our own written agent configuration. For that, insert okay, and let's paste with our configuration file. Escape. We're good. At this point, we have configured the Kinesis agent configuration file, and now we'll start the Kinesis agent, which will transfer the log files that we still haven't put in our system. But however, we will see that in action very soon. And now we'll just start the Kinesis agent, and we will see that the Kinesis agent is transferring the log files to the destination. Let's start the Kinesis agent now. So for turning on the Kinesis agent, we'll use this command: sudo service kinesis agent start. Okay. Right. Now that we have started the Kinesis agent, we want to read the log file that will be generated. Like so, we will now see if there is any log files that are being read. So we will duplicate the session and let's run this particular command for reading logs to AWS, read logs of AWS Kinesis agent. So in this address, okay, it is running, but 0 records. You can see transform 0 record parts. So nothing is being written now. Okay, it's nothing being written now. But yeah, it tried one more time, but nothing. Let's now create the log file that we will see that this agent is reading that log file. we'll see that. Now our agent has started and it is currently fetching no records, nothing from the log file, because I don't think we have a log file right now. So let's create a log file in the temp folder, and we have nothing. So write vi app.log. Oh, I made a mistake, my bad, sorry. Vi app.log, and here we will just simulate some logging, and I have an example log file. You can see that the schema that we define, it is here, and another thing that I want to tell you is that here you can see the match pattern. This is the regex pattern for parsing this information column by column, right? So these are the fields. Client IP, you can see this is the IP, and then RFC 931 and auth user are the next two columns. This is the 931 and auth user. So every row has those. We want to define column names for each of the fields, and we are parsing each field with this matching pattern. Like for example, this one, this is the start, and this one is parsing this field. So there are and it goes on like this. So all right, let's copy these 4 fields, right, and paste it in our log file. All right, and let's get out of this place. Now we'll see what is happening in our agent. See, as long as our app log is created, app.log, you can see that the 4 records has been transformed. This is good. Trailer has passed 4 records, right? Trailer has parsed 4 records. So you can see then it is working, right? That's good. Now, since we have our app log transferred with Kinesis agent, let's check the S3 bucket. Kinesis agent has passed, or Kinesis delivery stream that has passed our log, whether it has passed our log in our S3 bucket or not, right? So So let's go to our S3. If everything is all right, we should see some data. Converted an error. Let's see. Oh. There must be something wrong. The prerequisite for Kinesis agent, it is mentioned that in the IAM role credentials, you have to have some permissions for Kinesis Data Firehose. Also, we have to specify, yes, the IAM role. We have to also specify the AWS credentials in the configuration agent.json file, and also we have to edit this particular file to specify the region and access keys. So these stuffs were not configured in my case. So which I did, I specified the keys, access keys, secret keys in the agent.json file, and then you have let me show you real quick how you can do that. Configuration settings, and in the configuration settings there are two fields that you have to fill out, and yeah, AWS access key and AWS secret access key, right? So also you have to mention the particular IAM role which grants like a Kinesis full access that you have to specify. Also you have to go to this particular file, AWS Kinesis agent, and specify the region and access keys. After everything set up, I tried a whole new data stream which is called a new stream. I also had to specify this new stream name in my agent.json file. So I cannot show you that file right now because it has my secret keys printed. So just know that you have to complete the prerequisite before you can run an agent in any server, right? So that is that. So let me so when I ran my agent and started this new file called app.log, and it started streaming. As you can see that 4 records sent successfully to destinations. That had happened, right? So to check our S3 bucket, this was our bucket, log data 2023, and here as we have mentioned that in the glue table that our data will be partitioned by date, hour, so it has been partitioned. By the way, in the new data streams we did not mention the S3 prefix for destination as destination folder and all that. So there is not, after this bucket there is no folders such as converted and all that. So this file, I sent these 4 records. The first 4 records I sent, and after 20 seconds it properly arrived here. And if you want, you can also query this file with S3 select, mentioning the input file type Parquet, and we want to CSV and comma separated. And if you run the SQL query, you will see that our file has arrived successfully, right? Okay, so let me just show you. Okay, formatted. Yeah, as you can see, we have the data finally arrived. Now that we have the data arrived in our S3 bucket, we can also query the data with Athena. So let's go to Athena, and let's see the query editor. So we have one data catalog, as you can see, the glue data catalog, because we mentioned this in our glue, and we have the database as well. So there are 2 tables. We will let's log table. All right, let's do the query. And AWS data catalog and the database, this is the glue database, and table and views. We have the schema here. Which table? Actually, let me go to the data stream and see which table actually we the new log table that we will use for Athena. Where is that? Okay, the new log table, right? So this is our schema, and if you query select from new log table, new log table, and if you run the query, actually it's log table. So now that we have the data is stored in our S3 that has arrived from the delivery stream, the logs arrived from the delivery stream or from our log server through the delivery stream. It has been stored in the S3 bucket. Now we can query the data in Amazon Athena. So for that we need to go to Amazon Athena and select query editor, and from here you can run your query. For example, let's get a fresh one. For example, this is our catalog and this is our database, and in the database we have this table. Now this information is gathered from AWS Glue. So in AWS Glue we defined our table and schema and all that. So right now what Athena is doing is referring to that Glue schema or Glue catalog, whatever you call it, then redirecting, getting the data from the S3 bucket. But here's the catch. Before doing that, if your data is partitioned like this, like we want to query the data and run analytics in this folder where the data has been stored by date and hour. In that case we have like multiple folders and subfolders. That data has been partitioned like that. It's best to use their, like, before running anything on Athena, you can let Athena know that how the data has been partitioned. And for doing that you have several options. One option that I have used for today is using Glue crawler. So there are other options too, like if you go through the documentation of Athena, there are other options like partition projection and all that. You can dig down in this documentation and learn, but for showing today, I tried running the query on Athena without any partitioning information provided to Athena, but that returned zero data, just returned the column names. So what I did, I went to Glue, and there I used a crawler. This is called a test, and I'm showing how you can do it too. So go to crawlers and create a crawler, give it some name, and choose next, and to ask you whether you have the already mapped Glue tables, select yes. Since we have the table mapped in the Glue, so select add tables, and no connection. We don't need a network connection in this case, but if we need it, there could be like options for creating network connection and all that, like JDBC driver. Since we are not querying the data like in that level, we don't need that connection, but we need to select the database, glue database. For example, this is our database, and let's select our table and select crawl all subfolders. Crawl all subfolders here, and select confirm, and then custom classifier. We don't need that right now. Select next and create the IAM role if there is not any. Like IAM role have the permission, gives the permission to access the table. Only IAM is created by AWS consoles have the prefix service role. So we created an IAM role, but you can create yours too. AWS glue service role / whatever the name is, and you can create an IAM role. Since we have an IAM role, just select that, and we don't want the left permission. And for security configuration, there should be no problem, and click next. So this is our thing. We want the table inside this glue or inside this database, and update the table definition in the data catalog. This is what we need to select, because whatever the catalog has been defined, like we want to redefine that, because our Athena crawler will not be able to or is not being able to access that schema, right? So we want to update the table definition, and all things like on demand. This is a crawler schedule, and here it is. Like everything is set up. If you click on create crawler, it will create crawler, and then it will for example, the crawler has been created. Now if you click on run crawler, what you will do, it will then enter and extract the data by entering into the labels of the AWS table, and go through all the folders and subfolders and ultimately reach your files. So having that said, all the things I've set up, and if you run crawler, it will do that. So we already have a crawler. And we have just delete this crawler now. So we already have a crawler. It's called test. Actually not an appropriate name, just to think. And it has fetched all the schema information from our S3 bucket folder structure. So right now we will go to Athena. Let's go to Athena, and we have previously showed that you can query the file using S3 select. You don't, if you want, but right, like like query the data using select. But apart instead of going through individual files and query them, we can have our beautiful Athena here, and we can run our query on cumulated what do you call is the files in all on all the files here, right? So in this file we have 4 rows, and this file we have 4, so total of 8 rows. And if you go to Athena and choose your database, and you see a new you can see the table. Now this table has been extracted, and all the information has been extracted through glue crawler, and that is why there are some partitions created here, as you can see, right? So that Athena can understand the table better way. So now if you run your table, if you run this particular query to, or you can run any query, now it will return you the results. Just run query, and you can see 8 rows we have with the column names, right? These two had some problems. We can figure out what was the problem, but for most of the data, the results is there, and ultimately you can then download the result in CSV format and look at them and have them in a CSV, right? So we can query the data with Athena this way. Now that we have done our query in Athena, we can also visualize this. If we go to Quicksight and there we select new analysis, new data set, we have to make sure that securing permissions, we have to make sure that Athena and S3 has the access, Quicksight has the access both in Athena and S3. We have to make sure that S3, we have select S3 buckets and finish this. Anyways, let's go to the Quicksight and start new analysis here. Data set, Athena, name this log data visual, and select primary table, create data source, and from the database select the database and table. Directly query our data and select interactive sheet. For this kind, you can see that our schema is here, but for this kind of data set that we have is not very effective for querying data, but still I'm just showing for visualizing data, but I'm showing for like an example how we can integrate Athena and Quicksight. Is very straightforward. Let's for example select client IP. Let's select a donor chart and select client IP like this. like this. You can select, you can visualize the Athena query into Quicksight. We can use like other sorts of visuals and everything. But yeah, the whole point is like to show you how we can integrate Quicksight and Athena. So this is not working very well. Let's still leave this. Yeah. So this is it. We have integrated a real-time log server with Kinesis Firehose, and then we have integrated Kinesis Firehose with Athena for querying the data, and finally with Quicksight for visual. We have configured Kinesis agent, we have configured the IAM roles and policies, and we have also configured our S3 bucket. And for cataloging the schema, we have used glue, and there we have also used the glue crawler for extracting the schema and the subfolder and the hierarchies of the folder, right? So thank you very much for your patience till this point. Hopefully we'll be getting back with more interesting data pipelining videos in the future. Thank you.